What's poppin', y'all? Welcome back to Outdoor Myself. I'm Wayno. How y'all feeling today? I'm saying we starting off today right. We starting off today right. Before we get to anything though, hit that sub button, hit them likes, run up that hype. It's a lot of conversation going around about Jay-Z. I don't like the fact that people are speaking about Jay-Z as if he never rapped. Like, it's like when people start talking about Jay, it's only about, oh, well, he's the best mogul or he's the best CEO or he's the best at business. But I don't know if he's that good at rapping or if he could even be considered. I think like today's world of revisionist history is insane. Like this shit is bugged out. Like I be trying to get in my mind, do y'all remember? Do y'all remember? Today we gonna talk about the only person I think could beat Jay-Z in a Verzuz. Now, before we get there though, before we get there, the reason why this conversation is even happening again is because, of course, digital footprints matter. Whatever you say is going to be left up on the internet, you know what I'm saying, and will be used against your will. No matter what, if you feel like that today, tomorrow, or the day after. Let's go to the clip of Jay-Z speaking about how nobody could stand on the stage with him in a Verzuz, though.
I can stand on that stage with me. I ain't gonna lie, no disrespect. Everyone's amazing and done what they done. No one can stand on that stage with me. I'm just telling you guys the real.
I
Like,
feel you.
there's
I
not a
feel you.
shot. There's not a chance in hell that anyone can stand on that stage with me for I don't know how long it is. 2 hours, 1 hour, 2 hours.
Right.
Look,
Hey.
you gotta stand in front of the Grammy family freestyle live. You,
No,
no
we
one's ever
know.
even seen me perform that. Like, and you got to stand in front of that. That ain't gonna never happen, man. Let's move on from verses and let's get back to the this Keys album.
But first, before we move on from verses, we definitely have to give my husband.
I think the best part of verses is all the hypotheticals because it's all these scenarios that people come up with on some fantasy football, basketball type shit. Like, yo, imagine if Michael Jordan played with the 73 and 9 Golden State Warriors, would they have beat Cleveland? It's like all of these crazy ass scenarios that we know will never happen. But let's talk about what actually happens. But before we get there, right? Like the conversation around Jay as a rapper, I feel like because, you know, he only puts out a verse every now and then, right? Like it's a verse every 5 or 2 or 3 years, depending on who you getting it from. You know, we got a classic Meek Mill verse. We got a classic Pusha T verse, you know what I mean, on Drug Dealers Anonymous. We got a few verses on Drake albums. But then we have all of these scenarios about eras. And the thing about eras is that people are only going to compete with people from their era. I don't think it even makes sense to make hypotheticals about what would happen because what I can't stand about the versus conversation is, yo, this video is brought to you by Jordan Craig Denim. Jordan Craig Denim is a brand, a family-owned brand, working in streetwear business over 30 years by the way of Queens, New York. On top of that, they got everything from premium denim. They got good sweatsuits, good jackets, all types of garments and all types of accessories for any and everything you need. A lot of people have wanted. Everybody from Allen Iverson, the Moneybag Yo, Shiloh Sanders, Paul Pierce, Vin Diesel, they got something for everybody. You know it's full time. You gotta get right. Go get you one of these sweatsuits. This sweatsuit I got on in particular is extremely comfortable. I can move around in it. It's comfy. I feel like I could wear this to go outside. I could wear this to the gym. I could wear this to go get my groceries, pick up my kids from school, whatever it is I need to be doing. Good airport fit. Jordan Craig got it. So if you like this sweatsuit or any of the stuff that you've seen, make sure that you hit jordancraig.com and use my code. Like I said, you support me, you support this channel, support Jordan Craig. So if a person has a massive fan base, right? A massive fan base, everybody who's a fan of them just vanished off the earth. So because a person's popping today and they have like generally, they hot. They got whomever we talking about, a Drake or a Kendrick or even a Future, the whomever, you know what I mean? Whoever you want to bring up in these hypothetical scenarios. If they were to go against a person from an older time, then the person's fan base just decimates. Like the people who was fans of this person just don't exist no more. They just don't exist. Like they just don't share or nothing. Then the whole hypothetical of having these scenarios where people get put together that would never be like, why would anybody who's a Future fan show up to Jay-Z versus Future? That don't even make sense. But let's go to our good friend Academics and what he said. He said Jay-Z cool, but who gassed him up to think he untouchable in the verses? I don't think he wins 5 rounds versus Kanye. Plus, I got Future and Drake whooping him too. Jay-Z, one of the best rappers. He's better at being a mogul, but he's not untouchable in the verses. Then he says, nobody beats Kanye in the verses. He's the king of that. Too bad they canceled the GOAT, so we won't ever see it. But no rapper, dead or alive, beats Future. And Future beats Ye, right? Now, I had this conversation with academics when we was on Everyday Struggle. And my whole thing of that academics argument about a verses, especially involving a Jay-Z, was Hot 100 entries. Because that's how his generation quantifies what's a hit record or what's a fire record, right? Like what hit Billboard. We just had a conversation about Billboard yesterday regarding all the stuff that don't matter that they keep trying to pump into our minds that matters, right? But let's stay on course here. This is what Kanye said when he was on Drink Champs regarding him and Jay-Z.
And Holmes, that's probably it.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't think about that one. I didn't think about that. Oh,
See
that's...
Holmes' nephew right there. He watching you. He watching you.
No, I like that. I like that.
You would go against Jay.
Nah, because that's my boss. I would never go against you.
I like that answer, but you,
One of the rare moments we see a politically correct answer from Kanye, right? About how he feels. Now, we all seen post that he said all types of shit about Jay-Z, Beyonce, their kids, how he feels about all that, whatever. He's had his, his episodes. Now, my thing is the hypothetical is academic says, I got Drake and Future whooping him.
In what world? Listen, hear me. In what world?
In what world? Exactly. In what world? Where does that happen at? That's never going to happen. That's not even a hypothetical scenario that we could possibly see even coming close. Now, again, I think people from eras have to go against people from eras. And even with that being said, I think the good take is the shit he said about Kanye, because Kanye just got too much depth from being a producer, then an artist, then a producer again, and an artist. You know what I mean? Let's discount all of these weird ass albums that's come out in the past like 2 years, right? Let's just talk strictly College Dropout, Late Registration. Late Registration is my favorite Kanye album. Graduation, 808s and Heartbreaks, My Beautiful Twisted Dark Fantasy, Yeezus, even though I can't really stand a lot of songs on Yeezus. But in between that, there is a countless amount of beats that was produced by Kanye and a countless amount of feature verses that go up that you're like what? Like, I don't know who or anybody who could do something against Can't Tell Me Nothing, right? But I think and it's tough to say today because, again, people forget history and they shun history and they don't care for history. But if I was going to I think if you were to ask Kanye, who does he respect the most out of the era when he reached his prime, right? Within that 04 to 2010, 2012, even, Watch the Throne-esque era, the only person that he would possibly respect on his level or to go against him in the verses would possibly be Lil Wayne. And that's not far-fetched. But because people don't like Wayne complaining about the Super Bowl, they going to say, oh, no, ain't no way Wayne could compete with Kanye. Or they're going to say, oh, well, because Wayne, you know what I mean, his music, if you go back and listen to his music, nah, listen, in the 2000s, undisputable, I'm talking like 04 up. Even 50 Cent couldn't compete in that realm only because 50 Cent does have a lot of hits. 50 Cent is a monster, right? But 50 has a shorter time span than anybody that's successful around him. If you look at everybody from the late 90s, because everybody talk about the 90s, like the 90s does not define the only golden era. It's a lot of great things that came out in the 90s, but in the 2000s, it's tons of great music. But 50's run, it was great, but it was a short run. You know what I'm saying? By the time y'all got to the Curtis album, niggas was done with 50. You know what I mean? But he did put out tons and tons and tons of mixtapes and shit. But as far as him being a rapper, Wayne is the only person I see competing with a Kanye in that space. But we're talking about Jay-Z, right? Now, the only person I think can beat Jay-Z in a versus or make it competitive enough to beat Jay-Z in a versus is the person that beat him in a battle. Nas. It's the only person. And listen, I myself, yeah, everybody know Jay-Z my favorite rapper, but let's take that away for a second. Because we immediately gonna be Nas. Nas ain't got this, Nas ain't got that. Oh, au contraire. Au contraire, my young niglet. Nas, remember, versus is not only determined by what's the biggest hit record. I think that's where people had got it twisted with Dipset and Locks. With Dipset and Locks, and trust me, tons of people was like, how in the world could you say that the Locks is gonna be Dipset when you from Harlem? Easy, because I was listening to these niggas before Dipset existed, right? And I knew the bars, I knew the freestyles, I knew the moments on albums, the guest features, all of that stuff, the solo mixtapes, everything from Ghost in the Shell, Champ is Here, Walk With Me, you know what I'm saying? We Are the Streets, Money, Power, Respect, Rough Rider Volume 1 and 2, and countless other verses, right? That they had compiled of versus Dipset having a great time, but a short run, like Cam described it. That he had been beefing with them longer than they had a good run. So the thing about the verses, right, is like, keep in mind, Bout It. We just talked about this. We just talked about this when it comes to Billboard. I don't know if Bout It has ever been on Billboard ever. I didn't even know what Billboard was when Bout It came out. But I know the other night when what's his name? When Birdman was talking about I started this stunting, all of that, and Master P said, yeah, nigga, and I was uptown and I did this, and he did Bout It. Billboard don't even come into mind when we talking about this type of shit. And this is why I say, like, that whole space of verses when it comes to Billboard entries or whatever's the hit record is flawed. Because listen, they done told you, they done gassed y'all up to believe that if you have 1,000 or 100 billboards, A Boogie, and this is no disrespect to A Boogie because I love A Boogie, but A Boogie has like 23 or 24 Billboard Top 40 platinum certification, some crazy stat that I seen recently. That shit that Jay-Z ain't even got. You know what I'm saying? That shit that Nas ain't even got. That shit that Jadakiss ain't even got. So it's like, and so forth, like Snoop Dogg ain't even got. Let's not exclude it to just one region just because I'm from that region, but let's just talk in its totality. You can't even put that together. Now, look, reason why I say Jay-Z and Nas, and this is a short, I didn't even put this playlist together, but this is a short playlist I grabbed, you know what I mean? I ain't gonna say the DSP because ain't none of them paying me, but Can I Live, Jay-Z, right? Now, this is for OGs. If you are 20-something years old, even 30, if your pops ain't been putting you on Jay-Z music or Nas music, then you're not really going to relate. If you just heard Ether for the first time this year or last year because of the battle and people was bringing it up, saying about how Not Like Us compares to Ether and all other diss records, this is not for you. This is for anybody born in the 80s. If you born in the 80s and you watch this channel, you know what I'm about to say. You know what I'm talking about when we talk about this. All right, so look. Can I Live, Jay-Z, right? The message from it was written from Nas, where I'm from. Now, this is one of my biggest gripes, and I said this to Ak, yo. I was like, yo, if Jay-Z do where I'm from, bro, keep in mind, Verzuz is all about environment. So this is something that would be done on a grand stage, like either the Madison Square Garden or the Barclays Center, right? Let's just play fantasy football for a second. Imagine this, Jay-Z doing where I'm from in New York City. How hard, shouts out to D-Dot, Derek Angeletti, D-Dot, the mad rapper. He produced that record. You know how well that fares? But even with that being said, when you hear Nas, right? When you hear Nas and you hear Stillmatic, what? You hear Stillmatic or you hear New York State of Mind. You know what I mean? Like records like that, like the album cuts, not the singles. You hear They Shoot. You hear Made You Look. What? Hysteria, right? Now, again, these is things that I don't think will ever happen in existence. I don't think we ever, as cool as Timberland, Swiss, Nas and Jay-Z is, I don't think we ever see a versus, and some things is better off not being done. But I just think, right, that if this were to happen, this would possibly be the biggest clash of records that we've ever seen. Now, we all know that along with verses being about songs and shit, it's performative, right? It's performative. Now, I know a lot of people immediately, man, all Jay-Z do is stand there and do this. And for a lot of y'all right. You know what I'm saying? He just stand there with the mic and, you know what I mean? And even Nas, they didn't come from the era of like getting people hyped to your song meant you got to jump up and down 15 times. Like that's not what they came from. But I'm just thinking about momentum. Jay-Z does You, Me, Him, and Her. You know what I mean? I love Nas songs like Drunk by Myself. You know what I'm saying? Find Your Wealth, shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like One Love, Nas doing songs like that. Because this would have to happen somewhere like in New York. But again, you know, back to the point that Ack was trying to make of a Future versus a Jay-Z. Like, why would Future, if there was a versus in that 2010 era, I think it could only be between Drake and Future. Between 2010 up until now, that era that really defined sound, yeah, Drake and Future. Even if you want to be a stats person, Future got like 13 number one albums or 10 number one albums, some crazy shit. He got like more number one albums than Eminem. You know what I'm saying? Like he has that many records. You know what I'm saying? And I think that even with Drake, who's gonna go record for record? Who's gonna go? Now you have the element that Drake has where it comes to rapping. I mean, spitting the bars and all of that, the 8 a.m.s in Dallas and 6 a.m. in Toronto and 7 a.m. wherever the hell he be at. But then you have the Future, like shit. I'm gonna keep it 100. One of my favorite Future songs ever is Made Myself a Boss. If Future do Streets Calling, I've been petitioning for so long to see Future do a B-side show. I would pay good money. As a matter of fact, let me not pay money. I would commentate that shit like Stephen A. Smith and the NBA Finals. I would literally sit there. I gotta be there with somebody from Atlanta because you know the bias gonna come in. No, you can't have no New York niggas commentating the Atlanta shit, whatever. But Future B-side show, where he doing shit like Gangland, he doing shit like Fez did a sweep. And even for me, Know Yourself is it's not a single, but it's a Drake beat, a B-side or an album cut that's massive. But like that's who you gotta compare it to, the eras, right? The eras of when they were popping, right? Like that, the eras of when they was popping, those people together, put them against each other. Yeah, Jay-Z. Like now, let's keep it 100. Jay-Z with anybody else from an era after him is not gonna work just off the simple fact of age demographic. Over age demographic alone. Come on, we born in the 80s, man. Niggas be tired. Ain't nobody about to be sitting up there, all of that. Young people, Future's 40, right? Future's 40 years old. Jay is what, like 53 or 54 or something like that, right? But it's like, how do you compare those? Like, you gotta put Diddy against Dr. Dre. You know what I mean? Even though Diddy didn't produce, you know what I mean, on them joints, neither one of them were writing the songs. They was having songs written for them. Diddy had Don't Worry If I Write Rhymes, I Write Checks. That's one of his biggest lines, right? Dr. Dre, we all know that Snoop is writing for him and many other people have written for him. But those are the type of people you got to pit against each other. You got to put shit against one another that makes sense. You can't just be doing stuff for the sake of argument. No, I don't think that any of these guys, and that's just my personal opinion, right? You put in, Wayno, he wake up at 4:44 a.m. and pray to Jay-Z. You know, I get all the jokes. That shit cool and all that funny. But I just think that when you talking about verses, even when you speak of a hypothetical scenario, that's most likely not gonna happen. You gotta think of shit that's like feasible, right? Like you gotta think of stuff that makes sense, right? Like it's like you gotta put people together or put people around each other that makes sense. It's like if Raekwon has to do a versus, he gotta do it against Ghostface. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, if I'm trying to think, I was about to say somebody, but I could be wrong, right? Like if Game had to do a versus, which I ain't gonna lie, Game got a lot of songs. He got a lot of songs with him rapping. And I think like that's where the essence of hip hop shines the most because Verzuz is just that. We not there to hear the hooks. You know what I mean? We want to hear bars. We not there to hear just the biggest. We want to hear, and that doesn't go for everybody, but it's the bars. Even when we talking about a record like About It, you know what I mean? Like even when we talking about a record like About It, it's like even when I seen the Cash Money shit, when I hear #1 Stunner, you know what I mean? Like the hook is I'm a hard stunt nigga like Evil Knievel, like you know what I mean? But it's TV's must. You know what I mean? No, that's get your roll on, excuse me, but get your roll on. Whether you look at Birdman as a wordsmith or somebody who got the best bars, you want to hear the bars in the song. You're not just there for the hook. So y'all let me know what y'all think. Do y'all think that the only person that could possibly beat Jay in a versus is Nas? Jay has way more records that have wider range than Nas do, but Nas got them shits that's just going one mic, Second Childhood, and that even is to slow it down. And I don't even think you do the whole thing. You just do like a section of it. You know what I mean? Like a real performance. Y'all let me know how y'all feel. This is I do it myself. For the ones that rock with me, know how we doing. For the ones that don't eventually will. Let me know in the comment section how y'all feel about Come Home With Me. Catch you on the next one. Peace.